Hello and good evening. My name is John, and I'm joined by,
MPG.
and we're here preparing Dragon Age by compiling shaders. So we got a few minutes to talk here.
Yeah.
Um, this is not. Oh, this is also killing my encoder for my video. That's fine. Um,
Uh,
well, it's using everything to compile the shaders. This is the Dragon Age Veilguard, the character creator, which is a different SKU on Steam. It's a different content ID, different title ID. Therefore, it
mhm,
can be a different game I review.
mhm.
Um, how do you like Dragon Age, MPG? You finished it, right?
I did. I finished it earlier this week. I literally sat down and just played kind of for 3 days straight because I had some time
You
off
just went ham on
after
it,
I
just
got back.
focus mode all the way in.
I just focus mode. I mean, I was playing like 7 hour, 8 hour days of
Now, you were
Age.
upset when you found out I played my stream hour of this game without you.
Yeah, I was
Now,
because
this is
I
not
felt
an
like that
apology.
was
This is
our
just,
special,
yeah,
like playing Dragon Age together was But I was at a con,
yeah.
so I
You
was
made the
not
right
there.
choice. You saw real
I was
people.
not there. I could not play Dragon Age when it launched.
Yeah.
In fact, I bought it and I downloaded it while I was working, thinking maybe I'll get through the character creator.
And then it took 45 minutes to
Bef-
compile shade.
Yep, exactly. And I was like, oh.
Now,
So my rook was a little funny looking because I rushed her.
yeah. Well, I mean, you can go to the mirror later to fix that. Now, let's
Yeah.
be honest. I think compiling shaders up front is the better of the two evils.
I mean, it would be nice to have known that something about hey, we're preparing for first launch. It's going to take about 45 minutes to compile these shaders. Like I kind of would have liked to have known that beforehand
Yeah. I mean,
because then I would have just said oh, all right, well, I'm going to just go and do other, I've got other things that
yeah. Well,
I
this is
could be
only for
doing right
PC
now.
players. If you were on a
Mm,
console, you would have all the
yeah,
shaders compiled.
right,
Yeah.
because there's no
There's no
additional
hardware variation on that.
yeah, exactly.
So I think that I do, and I mean, I'm not saying legally this is not disparaging against EA or
Mhm.
BioWare. Legally, it's not
Mhm.
disparaging. I think a preload would have been beneficial, but since you had to both preload and then launch the game to compile shaders, there's not a really good way of doing that. Like
Yeah,
the whole
that is very
product has to
true.
be, the data has to be accessible, because what they're doing is saying, what does this lighting look against this texture in this, in this
Mhm.
time of day? They have to go through and run every permutation,
I
which
would
can only,
rather have that I mean, the game looks fantastic.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Um,
and it runs, it runs like butter.
yeah,
So I mean, that's okay, that's the thing. It's just kind of hey, we got to give, it's like getting a vaccination. Like it's a little bit of pain at the
yeah.
beginning, but it saves you a lot of misery, during your actual gameplay experience.
Well, I
So,
also think that this is one of those things that people don't understand the trade-off, because like someone was complaining, I saw, saying that they updated their NVIDIA drivers and then they had to recompile their shaders, and I was like,
uh-huh,
it's basically a different video card if they change the drivers enough. So like,
right.
yeah, they have to do it
Yeah.
again, because you basically have a different video card if enough changes on
Hmm.
the shader pipelines. And the trade-off is so many games have micro stutters, which
Yeah.
I think is worse. Playing the game and you get a hitch in something at the wrong time, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, there is no good way of solving this. It's just like
Yeah.
the nature of the beast until you're on closed system. Like if you were running on the Steam Deck, I don't know, I didn't check, but if they had a Steam Deck specific deliverable package for this game, they could have compiled the shaders for the Steam Deck, and then you don't got to do it on
Yeah.
here. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
So yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a again, kind of anticipating this game, realizing
yeah,
that it was dropping on the exact day that I had to leave for a 3 day weekend
yeah,
for a con, and just like that. Really? And then getting it kind of over, it dropped over my lunch hour, trying to get it installed so that it would be there. I figured maybe I could get an hour in before we left,
right,
and I could get through the character, just have a really nice rook to come home to, and dive in. And then yeah, the shaders took a while. So
yeah,
so that was sort of a bummer, but it was, again, the rest of the game, loading up the game, yes, it had to load the shaders, but that took 30 seconds for me, you
yeah.
know. and then the game, it just loaded so quickly after that that I wasn't, I wasn't mad at it, even though I was a little annoyed at the time.
No, I totally
So,
understand like that, and like it is just one of those, from a technical standpoint, like this cost has to go somewhere. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
either you spread it out awkwardly throughout the entire product, or you just get it done.
right,
Do your
right. No,
chores, do your chores
I
before you
prefer
eat
to
your
get it done.
vegetables, all whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So the game itself,
Hmm.
where does your heart lie? Like, where would you rank this in the Dragon Age of the four
Oh
primary Dragon
gosh.
Ages?
All right, so I am standing by my previous statement, which is that all Dragon Ages are wonderful and terrible in their own way.
They kind of exist out of time like that. They always have a new protagonist. They always have new mechanics. Like they're
Right.
very hard.
Well,
They're apples to
yeah,
oranges for each one.
right, exactly. And so for this one, I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous. It was massive. I mean, it took me over 100 hours to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What do you think your
and
completion was? Like, did you get 100% or?
I didn't. I don't know that I 100%. I went through all of the quests.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were no outstanding quests. I defeated all of the like big name bosses.
Yeah.
I defeated all of the showcase.
All
Uh,
achievement-based enemies or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
I basically got the golden ending in the sense that like it was kind of impossible to get a golden ending in Dragon Age because and this is one of those things where anybody who's like, Dragon Age isn't dark fantasy anymore. I miss dark fantasy. Like, go grow the hell up. Like, if Veilguard is extremely dark,
Yeah.
it's just your version of what constitutes dark fantasy is extremely immature and probably pretty sexist if you're saying that Veilguard is not dark fantasy enough. So, yeah, I got basically what I would call a golden ending. I think that my I in a lot of ways I was quite satisfied with how things turned out
Mm-hmm.
because I felt like there were a lot of things that I was really worried were going to just be dropped
Yeah.
in the discussion. I don't want to get into spoilers
Right.
or anything like that.
It's not a big spoil. Like they only brought over a handful of decisions.
Right,
So
exactly.
like you
And,
have
and,
to.
and kind of in that you have that fear of like, well, there are a handful of really important kind of ongoing problems in Thetis. Like, and all right, I will say there were in the same way that a number of things were I felt like they were sort of honored properly.
Mhm.
A few things I felt like somebody else had described it a little bit as like an alternate universe Dragon Age. Because it did feel like the Thetis that we knew,
Or the one you
from
built through all your decisions.
the ones that we
Yeah.
built, or even not even the one that we built, but just the one that was always there. So like there's a really important kind of line in Dragon Age Inquisition in which the Inquisitor is kind of being explained like why you are basically heading up what is essentially a religiously based how to put this, like a militia, a religiously based militia that's like running around like trying to save the world, but like at the same rate, I think that for a modern for somebody with kind of modern sensibilities, it might feel a little icky, and they're just like, hey, look, like Thetis is basically like Western Europe prior to Martin Luther. Like everybody is a Catholic.
Right.
It is the thing that unites everybody. The chantry, like this idea of the Andraste, like everybody is united under this concept of that everybody worships Andraste. Everybody has this
It's just what it is,
It's just what it is.
It's like it's kind of like to some extent like American exceptionalism. Like everybody knows what America is, even if they've never been
right
there. Yeah,
right. And you see that really knitted into kind of all like the day-to-day interactions when you're talking. People will use these expressions. They'll say stuff like "maker's breath" or
right. Yeah,
or Andraste's ass or something like that, because it's just like, yeah, it's the culture is everybody worships this this particular religion. And there's a lot of lore around that, and I felt like that got really filed down in Veilguard.
I I think that is a factor. And again, I've not played all the Dragon Age games, but I think that aligns with what I feel when I play the Mass Effect games.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone in that game is completely different species, race, different planet, different
Yeah.
homeworld, different land, and they have like two lines, except for the one Promethean
Yeah.
who is nonstop saying like, you know, in my country we eat pizza backwards. It's like, shut up, man.
Yeah.
Like no one, but like everyone else is like, I have my one thing that is different about my species, and other than that, we're all online with the human spirit, you know, like
Right. Well,
they're all
it's not
filed
like
down to a catchphrase, and then everything else is the human base, you know.
well, the thing that's really like, I think there were a handful of things where like they could have described a little bit better why things were so different.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of Inquisition, like things could have gone like, and there was a lot of time between the ending of Inquisition and the beginning of Veilguard. I mean, like 20 years or something like that,
I thought it
if
was
I'm
real time.
remembering right.
I thought real time passed
Um,
between the games.
a lot of time. A
Okay.
lot of time passed because I think,
Oh, so
I
which one
forget.
between Veilguard and Inquisition?
Inquisition and Veilguard. I feel like there was a lot of time in
I
between those
thought
two.
jokingly it was the 10
Varric
years
got
dev
really old.
time, but sure.
Yeah, Varric got really old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, that's kind of your first hint right there is that Varric is,
A silver fox in this one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I when I compare this to other fantasy media and stuff like that, whether it's
Yeah.
the Dungeons and Dragons or Tolkien or something like that, it is one of the human condition where we have to draw analogies back to to our existence. You see this when it's
Right.
like, oh, the dwarves are the burly miners and they were all look
Yeah.
like this, and it's like, or the orcs are like that, and you're like, hey, Tolkien, are you racist? No, I'm not racist. They're just orcs. Don't worry about it. Don't think too hard.
Yeah.
So like one of those things where like it does come back to what kind of things that reflect on it.
Yeah.
And I wonder when it comes to, the world building and stuff like that, the struggle. Because I mentioned to you, like playing Metaphor ReFantasio, how hilariously there is no subtext.
Nope.
In the first hour, they go, the big villains are humans. Oh,
Yeah.
and I
What
was
if
like,
man was the villain all along?
what if we were the bad people?
Let's
and
give that game of the year.
Well,
that is so.
Well,
oh my God! How has nobody ever thought of that before?
Well, I was
what
laughing.
If man
Again,
was the villain?
People should watch that video. But like in the video, there's a there's a mythical fantasy land where there's only one race, or only one tribe, and because of that, everyone gets along. And I'm just like, we know that's not true. Like, we know that's not true. So, are you really telling a fun?
In the absence of difference, people will find difference.
They will always find a difference for it. Yeah.
They will, and they will even invent it. Like they will go so far as to, just it will be the most arbitrary thing, but they will come up with.
That was a Star Trek episode with the white face, half left white versus white right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but yeah, so my thought is like kind of if the Chantry just had like a wholesale collapse between Inquisition and and Veilguard, I feel like that is something that could have been addressed.
I think
like I feel like that's something that we could have some sort of explanation for because.
Well, let's investigate this a little bit because like between, and correct me if I'm wrong here, between Inquisition / the Trespasser DLC, and Veilguard, there was Tevinter Knights and the missing comic book. That was it, right? There was nothing else written. Like there were some small Dragon Age Day pieces, but like for the most part, that was it. And like you're right, like
the Calling.
Okay, so
not the Calling. Last Flight. Sorry, Last Flight.
Wait, is that the
was out? That was the one that gave us one of the. That was another problem I had.
there was also the anime. I forgot about the anime.
Right. The anime. Yeah.
So there was a handful of things, but it's a big gap of. It's hard to jump 20 years.
Things gave us any indication that the thing that underpinned all of culture in Thedas was now gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine just like if tomorrow nobody said the phrase like, "Thank God for that." You know,
what if they actually outlawed saying Merry Christmas?
Jesus Christ, you know, like yeah, exactly. What if it was illegal to say Merry Christmas? But seriously, like that's the sort, like that's the level
of change,
of change, and like what the hell happened to make that
well
possible? I think I heard one like Andraste's Knickers or something like that, and you saw all of the remnants of the chantry, like the first, one of the first levels that you have to do, as you're going through the Imperial chantry, but it's empty.
Yeah. Can I ask you a change topics here, ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
One creative director, Jonathan Epler, said that Dragon Age has always been about a found family. Do you think Veilguard delivers on Dragon Age has been about found family?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's like the core tenet is Dragon Age is about found family.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it very like the characters are, and some of them I liked better than others.
Yeah, well, just
I'll
normal,
be frank. Which is the case with every Dragon
Age. Could you imagine it was 7 people?
Sarah.
Could you imagine meeting 7 people and liking all of them? Not me.
Yeah, exactly.
Not me.
And I think that, part of it is also, that you're dealing with this idea of like, in all of these games, you're kind of being through, like Dragon Age 2, it wasn't like, we've got to go save the world, but like in every game, you're saving the world.
Yeah.
like the whole point is like it's you and these like your little motley crew of freaks, running around to save the world. And I think that they do a really good job, with creating this this motley crew, and you understand why everybody is part of this.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that people, maybe take for granted when, we're talking about things like, companions and all that. It's like we understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
We understand why these people are here. I think that that was kind of one of the smaller issues that I had with like Inquisition was that there were a few people that I looked at and I was like, I don't quite know why you're here.
Well, I heard people complain that like after the game came out, I heard people complain saying, man, everybody just kind of like gets in line and is like wants to solve this problem all at once. And I'm like, hold on. The stakes are pretty high, so like, sure. And 2, it's like, they're all like, they're all heroes. It's like, say you have a room full of heroes and go, I don't know if all these heroes would team up to be really big heroes. You're kind of trapped, when it comes to that situation. Where like, if you're going to be in the story and be brought into the well of the protagonist's camera, you're going to want to get in line. You're going to want to be, and
I mean, like, I'm sorry, but like, have you never played D&D with the guy who, like all of the fingers are pointing toward, adventure this way.
Yeah.
And there's one person who's like, I want to go that way.
Yeah. Like, how many D&D games are you're in a tavern, you're all hanging out.
Yeah.
Why do you like each other? Because you are. Why are we here at this D&D table?
So many, frankly, so many DMs now will just kind of hand wave that away of just being like, guess what? Like,
you've all been adventuring together for a few years. Move on.
Yeah. Like you've all broed down for a long time now, and you have all of these shared experiences, and you all get along well. So guess what?
Yeah.
You're gonna be. This is what you're doing now.
I caught a 1 frame off camera bug there. I'm calling you out.
Oh.
Calling you out. Mm-hmm. We are now shaded.
Ah, sweet.
All sweet.
You got shade.
I don't. Okay. New character. I hate character creators.
I know. Can you share your screen now? Or?
I wasn't I?
Let me see. I don't see any.
Let me share it again.
All right, yeah.
Ancient elven god of lies, or
I love these cards. I believe these were Nick. I'm not sure, but I love these cards.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, the Dragon Age intro credits are always, or the intro cinema is always really good because it's that, you know.
All right,
here we go. Who are we gonna do? Elfie, humany, dwarfy, Kunari.
Let's do Kunari.
Yeah, they're the big ones.
So they changed this, of course, to be lineage instead of race. I think that's a good choice.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's fine.
Yep. Continue.
I don't get as worked up around that particular language, but I'm not like gonna, again, I have zero interest in getting into the like culture war nonsense of, you know. And so it's one of those like so many things. It's like, is this making it easier for other people to enjoy the game and not feel like the game is taking a huge poop on them? Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, then I guess it's good.
Yeah. I like the 3-head triangle slider. You know, I mean, I'm always intimidated by these two.
I had a really hard time with that, but like, it was good, and I feel like especially because you know, you didn't end up with a face that was like weird. You know, like it was making sure that kind of all of the parts fit together in the end for you. And I think that's, you know, I could kind of see what was going on there, which was that I was getting sort of the most I could out of being able to really customize this without ending up with like janky things that didn't fit together right.
Oh, I hate slide. This is making me so anxious. I am so nervous about doing these things.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not trying to do like Monster Hunter. I have to say,
Monster Factory.
Whenever I watch, see the character that somebody has created for Dragon Age, I am floored at what a great job they did.
We're gonna
turn on that. Yeah.
Is there a purple bit right there? Am I?
You know.
Oh my God! Is there a missing nipple texture?
Well, Kunari are not like.
Oh, that's the shadowing.
Okay. Yes. Come to steam cleaning for all of your boobies.
Yeah, that's what we have. I like these. Like, I think there's a lot of options here. Did you feel
it's like
you were not able to make the
except
character?
We've got the teats.
Did you feel you were not able to make the character you wanted to?
I didn't because I had run out of time.
Okay.
But like seeing the characters that some people have created,
glutes.
I am absolutely. Yeah. Get that bulge.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, you know?
No, I wasn't sure what they were gonna call it. God, this is so much.
It's gonna be called junk.
I don't know.
Junk size.
All right, let's talk hair.
All right.
This strand hair is so good.
I love the hair. I mean, I know that was something that you guys were sort of like put on blast. Like, I wouldn't say blast. You were put on notice for before, like every single Dragon Age fan was just like, we want beautiful, luscious, flowing hair. And I really feel like you guys delivered. Like, not just beautiful, luscious, flowing hair. Like, that's beautiful. People. It's beautiful. And now, is that the reason, or I should say the reason, is that a reason for the 40 minutes of compiling shaders at the beginning of the game?
I don't think that's the primary reason. I just think there's a lot of spell effects in a lot of environments. Like, you have to balance every texture. I mean, with ray tracing, come on. I would say, like...
I mean, the natural hair, you know, styles, you know, for people of color, and just all of the different styles, all of like just the way that the hair behaves. In some ways, I felt like, so I went with 2 pigtails, braids. No, I did. Yeah, I did that one. Those things did not sit still. I could be just standing there talking to somebody, and they're it's like when you kill somebody in a game and the body doesn't settle. Yeah. It's like my hair was like that.
Yeah. Well, we can get right.
Yeah. I mean I have to say, I am not very good at character. I mean, maybe the next time I play it.
That's why it intimidates me.
But I mean, if I can spend some more time on it, I have recently migrated to Linux, As I understand it, Veilguard does not yet work on Linux because of NVIDIA drivers.
Oh, probably.
And I don't think that the new drivers are quite Linux like, like path certification. Oh my God, I love it.
Some big horns.
Yeah.
I you have to also give a credit to like these character creators who are like these are very distinct body shapes and body types and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the thing that like, and I think it's one of the reasons that Dragon Age has always been at the forefront of these like stupid culture war BS, like,
and look how nice they give you lighting choices
all the way back to when people first found out about the the male warden and Zevran sex scene and origins. I think that the thing about Dragon Age is it does such a good job of making it obvious that, hey, guess what, like, you can make yourself in this game.
I don't think anyone
you can make
underserved.
Somebody who looks a lot like you. And I think that that's the sort of thing that really freaks a lot of people out, because they're like, they just want grizzled straight white man, and this idea that this game kind of is allowing people who don't necessarily like fit in what everybody just assumes the video game protagonist is going to want to be, is really threatening to a lot of people, because it's like they just can't get over the idea of, well, because this was given to other people, it must mean that something was taken away from me.
Right. Yeah.
And so they get like that, and that's sort of the basis for just so much nonsense around the Dragon Age discourse, which is all of these just extremely frightened boys basically being really, really upset that there was a game out there that doesn't cater exclusively to them. It's not even that the game is not for them. It's literally that
it exists.
It allows other people, like other personalities, other experiences, to see themselves and enjoy themselves, and they cannot get over that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for going to the character creator, and thank you for sharing your experience. Do you recommend people play Dragon Age?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously I am a purist. I do think though that if you have never played a Dragon Age before, Veilguard does a very good job of not again, kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning, like there's a lot of stuff that they just sort of say, you know what, we're not going to require that people know, the last 3.5 games in order to enjoy this game. We're just going to allow people to just play this game and not and not feel like they have to
just play the game if you like it, and don't if you don't.
Yeah. I would say if you have the ability to, I would very much recommend playing Inquisition at the very least, and the Trespasser
to warm up.
DLC in particular. You can get both of those. You can get the Game of the Year version of Inquisition on just about every platform for something like $10. A lot of the it goes on sale so regularly. It's a 10-year-old game. It still looks really good. And frankly, it does really set up a lot of the story that you're dealing with. So, you're dealing with kind of cleaning up this leftover thing from Inquisition. And I think that's really important for a lot of people. And I think the other thing is, Inquisition, it's very story heavy. And so if you just, especially if you're not like digging into some of the game mechanics, I won't tell anybody if you put it on easy just to get through the story, because the story is really, really good in Inquisition.
Go ahead.
It does set up Veilguard in a way that I have to believe that Veilguard, I mean, I know Veilguard was very satisfying from that perspective as well, but I think that, I don't think that it would be unsatisfying if you hadn't played Inquisition. I just feel like you would get more out of it if you had.
Agree completely. I will wrap up the same thing that I said with metaphors, like don't buy the game if you don't know what it is. Like there's infinite ways of figuring out if this game is for you. Don't buy it if you don't think it's, because like it's a big purchase and it's 100 hours. Like don't accidentally slip and fall into Veilguard. Like do a little bit of.
All right, I will say this. Veilguard, for the most part, was very good about being snackable.
Sure.
This is one of the things that I had a hard time with. I have a hard time with now that, like, you know, I'm not even like a mom or anything like that. It's just, you know, I have a full-time job. I've got all these other things that are kind of going on in my life, and I don't have the time to just sit down and play unless I literally take time off work, which is what I did. Unless I have time, you know, off of work, I usually don't have like 5-6 hours to just bury myself in a game. I felt like, you know what it's like? It's like when you get a book, and how much quicker is it to read a book when the chapters are pretty short versus when like it can be the same length of book.
Yeah. One more page.
But it's just so much easier to, like, oh, you know what? I've got 10 minutes. I'm going to sit down and read a chapter, versus every chapter in this book is 40 pages long. And I don't like quitting in the middle of a chapter. So I only play this, you know, I only can read this book like once a week, you know, versus I can read this. So I think that Veilguard, from that perspective, is, you know, it's not as intimidating, simply because, it does a very good job of creating like snackable missions.
Yeah, cool.
And it's gorgeous.
And it's gorgeous. And I think the person
who did the technical director stuff for a while really did a great job on that. You know, you don't think about the tooling and the programming.
Thank you. All right, we gotta wrap up.
Yep. Bye.